I say, you guys are doing a great thing. It's such an uncomfortable topic to talk about, especially for a guy, young guys in their early 20s. And, I'm glad that, I could tune in and, listen to you guys.
Spencer Coburn's The Bald Truth.
What's happening, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in. This is obviously The Bald Truth. I'm Spencer Coburn, here with Joseph Tillman. I'm the founder of the American Hair Loss Association. Joe is the original hair transplant mentor. And we're just here to do a little hair loss show that we do once a week in general, sometimes every other week.
Sometimes once a month.
Sometimes once a month. But I have to figure this out. But this is our, I was going to say safe place. This is our place that we come to talk to you guys about anything and everything hair loss. And look, we just want to tell you the truth. We just want to provide you with honest information. We just want to provide you with advice that's based on, a combined 50 some odd years experience in this field. 60 years maybe? I don't know.
More or less. Yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
60.
A long time.
Absolutely.
And I don't know, Joe. Hold on. Jesus.
While you're ruminating, I want to make it clear to everyone that's watching the live broadcast. There will be no discussion of politics or any events that have happened in the past week, as terrible as they were. No comments in the chat room. If you do, you will be blocked. I don't want any of that today. This is only about hair today. I don't want there to be any sort of off-topic discussions like that. So one comment from you about it, and you're out. So just want to make that clear.
You do know bringing it up with these children is never a good idea.
I know. It's almost like a test, but we'll see. I'm watching.
Guys, the phone lines are open, 888-659-3727. We are live doing our thing here again try to do it almost every Friday. I started saying we don't do it every Friday, but I'm trying to make it happen. Usually my fault when we don't do the show, for the most part. So I want to apologize for that.
Never apologize.
So you have a very interesting thumbnail, Joseph, which kind of shocked me until we discussed it further.
I forgot what I put as a thumbnail. I forgot what I made.
About the PP405.
Yeah, I know what it was about. I just forgot how I...
you said that funding was pulled.
Oh, yeah. I did not say that. No, I did not say that funding was pulled. I did not say funding was cut. I just titled it PP405 Funding Cut. That's all I said. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Big difference. So are we talking about this now? Like we're spilling everything at the top of the hour?
No. Let people wait. Fuck them.
No?
Guys, phone number is 888-659-3727. We are live. We're going to take your calls. Just answer your questions. That's what this program is all about, and that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to do a whole monologue like I used to do all the time for the last 30 years or whatever. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it another time since I'm going to be doing the show without Joe starting next week. But but let's just get to the phones.
Let's get to the phones.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, Spence, am I on the air?
You are.
Oh, right. How you doing, buddy? It's Rez.
Rez, what's happening, brother? How are you?
Oh, brother, I'm okay.
Hi, Rez. I'm here too.
Hi, Rez.
Hello.
It's high res. High res.
Hi.
Doing,
High resolution.
Hi, Rez. High resolution.
I'm
good, man. How are you?
Yeah. I should have
living the dream.
Used that. How's everything? How's everybody doing?
Good stuff.
So far, so good, man. What's
Can't
happening
complain.
with you? How are you feeling?
I'm all right, man. I've been trying to get my car smogged, so the battery died, and now you have to drive it for like 300 miles to reset all the monitors. I don't know if you've ever dealt with that, but these monitors on the car get turned off, and then you have to drive the car like a certain way, exact specific way, to reset all the monitors so you can go get a smog test.
You mean the actual monitors, like the visible monitors in the car, like in the dash?
No. So when you plug in the scanner to the OBD2 port on a car?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when you do that, there are all these monitors like O2 upstream and low stream.
How old is your car?
It's a Jaguar XJ 2012.
Okay. I have a 2005 Lincoln Navigator that I need to get smogged as well. It's sitting in my garage with a dead battery. But
that's such California talk.
Then,
yeah. But I don't know if it's going to be the same case as I don't know if the reset is going to be the same in a 2005 model as it is in a 2012.
It's not.
Anything with anything with an OBD2 computer, which is like 93 and forward, you have to drive to get the monitors ready. So typically, what you could do is go online and look up and see how you can get the monitors ready for your specific car, and it'll tell you like, okay, you need to drive at 60 miles an hour at this RPM for 10 minutes, and then brake 3 times, and then drop to 40 miles an hour for 10 minutes, and then you do this these set of sequences, and then it gets all your monitors ready so you can go get it smogged.
Well, that's why I keep Joe around.
That's if you're using an LCD monitor. Like if you got regular gauges, then you don't need to worry about that stuff. You just charge up the battery and just drive, and everything works.
Everything will work, but if you went to go get the car smogged that very day that you got the car jump-started, it would not pass smog. That's the deal with the monitors.
I don't have to deal. What do you mean by monitors? What you mean, like the modules on your ECU that monitor your O2?
Let me just say, this is making me want to get rid of this effing car. By the way.
Yes, the monitors on the ECU, which monitor certain aspects of the car. That's what I mean by monitors.
Right. I thought when you said monitor, I thought you were talking about like an LCD dash or something for it to properly read as an instrument cluster. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
OBD1 and earlier. That's the way to go. OBD1 and earlier. Then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, theoretically, those are old cars though. At this point, I have a 14. I don't know if you guys. I think Spencer likes Jaguars too, right?
I had a Jaguar before it became an old lady's car, but yeah.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm just busting your balls, brother.
well, no, but I've got the 2-door, the XKR, the really nice.
Yeah, I had a 2001 XKX.
Oh yeah.
So yours is a supercharged one.
Supercharged 5-liter, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got some work done to it. Smaller pulley. It's got close to 600 horsepower.
Yeah, I really used to. I used to enjoy that car. Until I was going to say something obnoxious to it. No, I really did. I really did enjoy that car. That model was really special for a long time.
Oh yeah.
So listen, brother. So what's up? What's up with your hair? What's going on? These guys are going to start hanging up.
I was looking at my hair the other day, and I was like, Spencer's right. You should just shave it. It's like, it's slow torture. Some days I swear I think I have body dysmorphia because there's some days I look at it and it looks good, and then there's other days where I'm like, man, you look really bad. And so, I guess it's just perspective for that day, depending on the expectations I have of what it's supposed to look like.
But, I understand that. I understand that completely. But you've been through a lot over the years, and you've had several surgeries, and you had old school surgeries, and so I mean, you're dealing with a lot when you're looking at your hair.
I wanted to ask Joe how many grafts he had in the very beginning, the first two micro and mini graft surgeries that he had in the 90s. Do you recall how many grafts you had taken?
Well, I don't exactly. That's a good question. I seem to recall maybe 600 grafts to 800 grafts were attempted. And I say attempted because 9 years later when I counted how many were growing, when I had my head shaved for my first repair with Dr. Wong, I counted 300 grafts, give or take. So I don't know. And I had 2 surgeries, so I don't know how many were actually placed. I just know how many were growing. And for those 300 grafts that were growing, I had 2 wide donor scars as a result in the back.
Right.
So, yeah. And we did we imagined, or Dr. Wong and I kind of speculated that because it was all mini micrografting, or the grafts that were replaced were micrografts, so they're multi-hair grafts and they're big, 6 hairs, 7 hairs. We determined that it was probably on the order of 1,500 FU that were taken.
Wow.
Maybe more. And
depending, based on how big the scar was. He actually estimated based on the scars as well that it was maybe 1,500, potentially as high as 2,000 follicular units that were taken from those 2 strips. Wow. But so you have an incredibly large donor area, because if you had
thank you
8,000. Well, yeah, right.
I thought he was going to say large head.
Exactly.
Not that that's true.
You had 8,000. You had 8,000 grafts with Wong, and then another 10,000. I mean, that's typically higher than your average person who can only have 6,000 done, maybe 7.
I've had, including the old work I had, we estimated that I've got about around 11,000 grafts in total. That were moved, and then God knows how many were lost from the first 2 procedures. But but growing on my head, probably around maybe 10,000 grafts. Like, I don't know.
Why do you think those initial ones were lost?
Oh, just the technology at the time is a very imprecise procedure compared to how it's done today. With there are no microscopes. I got to tell you, like, I think about it sometimes, and I feel lucky that it wasn't plug surgery that I had, because it was right there on the cusp of when strip surgery was making inroads to being the dominant surgery. Even though it was mini micrografting, it's the first advance past plugs that we had. Before mini micrografting and strip surgery, it was plugs. And mini micrografting was the stopgap between plug surgery and follicular unit surgery, where microscopes were used. And being in 1992, maybe 93, a lot of clinics were still doing plug surgery.
They were.
I count my blessings. That it wasn't plug surgery that I got, because I may have gotten it.
Most were still doing plug surgery.
Yeah. So I do count my blessings with that. And he didn't place the grafts too low. He actually did place them behind my existing hairline. So that's another blessing that I count, that he didn't lower my hairline below what I had already. And it could have been much worse, for sure.
The more I look at people's donor areas, the more I come to realize that people that are losing hair, Norwood 5s, Norwood 6s, you look at their donor areas, and it's always thin. I saw a guy at Mass the other day, and he literally had like a 1-inch wide donor area around his entire head. Like, everything was lost below that and above that.
Yeah.
And so these doctors that want to say, oh, donor area never, it's for life, the DHT doesn't hurt the donor area, may take longer for it to affect the donor area.
Well, that's the whole point that's the whole point I try to make online all the time, especially on Instagram and on TikTok now, is that no matter what you're being told, if you are a young person under the age of 25 and you already have aggressive hair loss, the likelihood, especially with FUE, that those grafts are going to last you a lifetime, it's zero, basically. Some will. But even if that they're going to last you 5 years, it's unlikely, especially since they have to go above, below, and to the sides of the donor. So when I tell these kids this, they don't want to hear it. But that's the reality. Now, it's possible to mitigate those long-term issues with medication. But you have to know you're doing well on medication first and foremost before you have surgery. And that's not what's happening in today's market.
Yeah, they're going in for surgery. If somebody has a bad procedure and they go to a doctor and the doctor removes unsightly hair grafts from, say, the front or an area that's noticeable, why can't those grafts be used again? Or can they?
Well, no, they can. It depends.
They can and have been. It just the problem is a lot of times it depends on the situation. So if you have a bad surgery and grafts are placed in an area where they just don't look right, they're too big or bad angles or whatever. There are several clinics that routinely will take in those kinds of patients and they'll extract those grafts using FUE, and they will move them to other areas of need, like sometimes into the crown or sometimes behind the area where it was placed initially. Sometimes back into the donor area, which is rare, but it does happen, to try and kill two birds with one stone, where they're making the recipient area look more natural, and they're also kind of, I hate using this term, but restocking part of the donor area by placing hair back into it. But it's not always possible, because sometimes the work that was done is so terrible where the grafts are damaged during the implantation process that to try and salvage them is very difficult and not worthwhile, simply because they can be compacted and the tissue around the hair itself is formed of scar tissue. And you don't want to transplant scar tissue. It's almost guaranteed that it won't grow properly. They have a hard enough time growing when they're healthy tissue. So to transplant scar tissue, it's not into scar tissue, but hair that is surrounded by scar tissue at the base of the follicle. That's very difficult, and it's likely not going to work out.
And that's the thing. I've seen these repair cases where physicians are trying to utilize grafts that are poorly placed, misangled, and in the end, initially they didn't understand why they didn't grow. And then eventually, I would say by 2003, they were able to figure it out. And it's exactly what Joe is describing. So, they really have to take a close look at the surrounding tissue and how badly those grafts have been placed and whether or not it's going to be worth potentially losing those grafts or kind of working around them to keep some sort of density in that area. But the very low grafts, as far as like the hairlines that are created too low and too pluggy, those grafts in general have to be removed anyway to make things look better. So they're going to start there first, then look at them closely under magnification and see if they are salvageable. And you'll be surprised at how many are just, they're garbage. Somehow they're continuing to grow, and they're growing less robustly than the rest of your hair, and like I said, in poor angles. But the whole thing's a mess. If you don't do it right the first time, you are in a bad state. You will never be as good as you could have been. And that's why I think appropriate surgeries, conservative surgeries, going with a physician who's been doing this with a team for a long period of time, where you can really look at their body work, not just on Instagram, It's just so these kids don't understand how difficult this procedure is, how nuanced it is. And listen, I blame the industry. I blame the entire industry. I blame the so-called educational societies. There's a meeting going on now. Is it now, Joe? FU Europe?
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I took a look at their program. It's ridiculous. It's sad to me that this is what these trade organizations are showing surgeons who are going to be performing surgery, or so-called surgeons. So it's a mess from the top down, brother. And you were in the industry, so you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the more I look at these videos of people, I mean, the more I kind of have a little bit of contempt for these doctors, because they flat out lie through their teeth, especially to people in the beginning, telling them that these things are permanent and that you could say, well, they didn't know then, and now it's practicing medicine, and so they're learning more, which probably is probably true to some degree, but it's like they flat out lie to so many people.
Yeah, but Rez, some of the hair will be relatively permanent. It will last decades.
Yeah.
But when you're doing FUE, you can only remove the best quality, most relatively DHT-resistant hair. You know, like maybe a third of the grafts can be used that are DHT-resistant. That's it. Everything else is susceptible, just like the rest of your scalp. That's what they're not telling patients.
So is what Dr. Zaref does, he claims he has this program where he scans somebody's head, and he knows exactly what's going to last and what isn't going to last.
No, I would say that he knows, he's able to determine what is currently miniaturizing compared to what's not currently miniaturizing. It doesn't mean it's not going to miniaturize in the future. If it's not in your real safe zone, if it's taken anywhere outside of that, whatever, 23 centimeter wide in length, 7 centimeter in height area, there's a real risk of it miniaturizing, and more rapidly than people think. So, no, I would say that's inaccurate, and I disagree with him putting that out there online if he is.
I think once the hair goes on the top, in the top area, then the DHT starts to affect the hair on the sides. At least that's what happened to me. My hair was incredibly robust around the sides, and even in my late 30s, early 40s, and then something happened.
Yeah, I saw a woman post something online about her husband will never go bald. He's in his late 30s. This guy has beautiful hair. And she's like, I'm so lucky that I'll never be married to a bald guy, something ridiculous like that. I'm not going to comment. I'm not going to ruin this guy's life or her, belief. But I'm looking at that. I'm like, she has no idea. That clock could just, flip. That switch can flip, and all of a sudden, that hair is gone. 10 years.
But I gotta say, I feel fantastic knowing that I will never ever be married to a bald guy.
Yeah.
Joe's
Jesus
right.
Christ, what a slow room. God.
I thought it was funny.
Thank you.
Well,
Need a drum roll. So does that mean if somebody has hair on their head that was transplanted and it's not as robust as the other hair, it's that maybe that follicle was damaged?
It could be
It can be.
It can be, sure.
Yeah.
And can that be reversed with minoxidil or any kind of treatment to where now the hair is growing thick again? Because you always hear about miniaturized hair becoming thicker.
Yeah, but the miniaturization from physical damage is different than actual miniaturization from DHT. So if there's a physical trauma to the hair follicle, the answer is no.
It can grow in thicker if it gets a stronger blood supply from minoxidil or something like that, some sort of vasodilator. But it's more likely to come in wiry and not like the rest of the hair. And that's what happens when you see patients that have, normally straight hair on their head, but then the transplanted hair or some of the transplanted hair comes in curly and darker than the hair that was. It can look like pubes or steel wool or something.
And guys, hold on. We'll take another call in a minute, so don't hang up.
And that's a symptom of damage to the follicle. It can even come in thick, like the follicle itself can come in. I've seen follicles come in not just normal diameter, as far as the micron measurements go. I've seen damaged follicles push out thicker hairs than they were when they were in the donor area. Don't know why, but that can actually be a thing too, and that's actually not good because they stand out and they can make the result look unnatural or less natural than you'd want it to be.
It's interesting. It's weird. I saw a young guy who's promoting his hair transplant on Instagram. Seems like a nice guy. I think he wants to help people. Doesn't seem like he's selling anything or he's not consulting with people yet. Went down to Mexico to have it done. I can't even believe the result. I can't even believe that the plugginess of this result it's frightening to see in 2025. That this is what people think a hair transplant is supposed to be. And he's happy. Yeah, he's happy because
he's happy. Yeah.
There's this new normal thinking that these types of hairlines, the plugginess, this is it. Basically, now, if you get a hair transplant, you just have to be okay with your hair line looking like it was sewn in with a sewing machine.
Yeah. That's such a perfect description.
Yeah. And it's horrendous. Now, I know there are people out there like, well, what's up with your hair, brother? You could size your forehead. You know what, though? It's not man-made.
Right.
Someone didn't destroy me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I didn't willingly go under the knife and think this is a good situation. I know my hair's effed up.
Well, I'm under the impression that you could grow a lot more back, but you just don't want to go through the shedding. Like, I feel like if you went on oral minoxidil and maybe dutasteride, you could probably even gain another 10%. That's just,
it's possible.
Speculation, but,
It's possible.
Maybe.
But listen, it's really, honestly, it's really no big deal to blow dry my hair, part it on the side, comb it back and over a little bit and spray it. It's not the end of the world, really. Yeah, it's a little like, when you're dealing with windy days, it makes things a little bit more difficult. I have to use a little bit more hairspray or a lot more. But at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. I kind of make more fun of myself than I need to, I guess. Or maybe I don't. I don't know. Maybe not enough. But, I'm relatively comfortable. So to me, it's like, why F with it?
Maybe the key is to shave, for me to shave my head and then wait until there's actually a viable treatment. Maybe something, maybe stem cell, who knows? I don't know, stem cells, maybe this PP405, 455, whatever it is. There's got to be something in the future that is going to grow hair.
Well, how old are you now?
51.
There may not be a future. I'm just kidding.
You what?
I'm just kidding.
Maybe I could be dead tomorrow. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible. So
that's why I live one day at a time.
Well, you have to. We have no choice. But listen, brother, it's always a pleasure. You always bring you always bring a great conversation to the table, and I think a lot of young guys can learn from your experience. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
God bless you guys, and stay safe.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Phone number, 888-659-3727. Yeah, it's the Hair Loss Show. Yes, we're taking your calls, and we're just kind of like talking about anything and everything hair loss. Rez is a guy who's actually in the hair loss industry for a while, had older school hair transplants, and he's only 51, and he's talking about how his donor has thinned over the years. Mm-hmm. He's not an old man yet. Usually people think, you see six guys in their 60s, 70s, 80s with these super thinned out donor hair. That could happen when you're 45. So if you're very young and considering a hair transplant right now, understand what you're potentially getting yourself into. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Brad. I'm calling from Dallas, Texas.
Brian or Brett?
Hello.
Brad.
Hello, Brian.
Hello.
Oh,
Thanks
Brad.
for taking my call. I'm Brad. Brad is in Bradley.
Brad, how are you, brother?
Yeah, got it.
Good. I'm pretty green to hair loss and hair regrowth and learning about it.
Are you watching the show
for you
or
guys.
listening?
I'm I was watching on YouTube earlier, but I stopped it so the audio wouldn't be running on my laptop.
My question is, how's my hair today, Brad?
I was looking earlier. I mean, it looks okay to me.
Thank you, brother. Okay. We'll take your question. Go ahead.
So right now I've been taking or using Intelligent brand shampoo with ketoconazole in it and their conditioner. Haven't noticed much of a difference, which I know that's more like a light treatment, if you will.
It's not even a treatment.
Using. Okay.
The amount of ketoconazole really is probably not clinically significant. And even if they claim that it is, even if it's 2%, the meaningful DHT, diminishing DHT meaningfully with a shampoo, it doesn't happen. Now,
okay.
all of these are based on, all these companies selling these ketoconazole shampoos on, relatively small studies that do show that particular medication can lower DHT in your scalp to a certain degree. So there's no harm in using it. Also, it works on the inflammatory aspects of your hair loss. So there's a positive there. But as far as really lowering DHT, I can tell you that there's a lot of misinformation out there, even by like TikTok dermatologists.
Okay. I don't want to, I'm not trying to bash anybody, but I know I got this information from Derek on More Plates, More Dates. So anyway,
there's nothing to bash.
I
mean,
sharing this.
I like Derek.
No.
I don't know him personally, but I would say that out of all the major influencers who talk about hair loss, he is the only one that has really gotten things right, has looked at things with an open mind, who understands, not only is able to kind of look at the studies and talk about them to his audience in a very lucid way, really understands what's going on. He's also experimented on himself, uses these drugs, uses these products, and he's had really good results. But the ketoconazole information is really just based on studies that he's able to read, that you're able to read, and that have come across my desk over the last 30 years. But in clinic, in practice, where Joe and I really have an advantage because we have access to all this information, it doesn't do shit. It does very little. Let's put it that way.
Okay. And my question for you, maybe question and, I guess it's a question, is I'm considering using topical dutasteride and mainly what I've read states that topical dutasteride has a larger molecule that won't go as systemic. I am concerned about lowering DHT levels when it comes to muscle, when it comes to building muscle, retaining muscle.
What does Derek think about that? I'm curious.
I believe he's supportive of topical dutasteride. Then again, he's also supplementing with testosterone replacement therapy, which I'm not.
Right.
So,
But I think he's also supportive of oral meds as well, right?
Right.
Yeah. I'm just curious. Yeah. So what you're saying is correct. That is, we are seeing less, and actually to some degree, there is some degree of serum rise or serum DHT suppression, even with these topical dutasterides with these larger molecules. So something is going on systemically to some degree, but it's very minimal in comparison. And we do see that these products are working. So, yeah, I mean, whatever Derek is explaining to you makes sense. And we see that these products can work for sure.
Great. I'm planning.
Now, would
on
I
getting
use
a
them?
compli-
I'm just kidding. I might one day. I don't know. Probably not. It's a real pain in the ass to me to use any topicals, but I understand why people do it.
Okay. I was mainly concerned with how effective they are, if they are effective. So that's reassuring to know.
They can definitely be effective. It really depends on where you get it, where it's compounded. There's several different companies all making different compounded products from different compounding pharmacies, sourcing their main ingredients, which are the drugs, from different places around the world. You never know when they're going to be switched out on you. So these are things you have to ask. It may be better to work directly with a physician who works directly and knows the compounding pharmacy, and you can ask these questions so you know if you're at least getting something that might be more consistent. Does that make sense?
Do you have
to
any?
So your reasoning, Brad, to go to topical dutasteride as opposed to topical finasteride is to reduce the chances of going systemic as much as possible, so you can avoid side effects.
Right. To reduce I know even with topical dutasteride, it will go systemic.
Mm-hmm.
My hope is that with topical dutasteride, it'll go less systemic than with topical finasteride.
Yeah. The problem I have with dutasteride in general is, there's the discussion about the molecular size of the medication, and that in and of itself presents a problem getting past the blood barrier. And I've read and had discussions with individuals that market such products, and their claim is that their secret sauce helps to act as a conveyor to bring those molecules into the tissue deep enough to affect the follicles, to restrict the or to prevent the DHT from forming in the immediate areas of the follicles. No one has been able to explain to me how that actually works.
Without it going systemic.
Without it going systemic. And
I didn't want to bring that up because there's only like one or two, or at least one that I know of that is making these claims. But
so
you're not wrong.
So my question is, if you have some sort of medium that can deliver the molecules of the medication where it needs to be, and hold it in place, which is what the claim is, then what's the difference between dutasteride and finasteride if you're holding it in place? If you're holding it in the target area where it needs to be, how does the delivery mechanism not hold finasteride in that area, but does hold dutasteride in that area? No one's been able to explain that to me, based on their own claims of how the products work. And it's not just one company. There's more than one company that talks about this to varying degrees, using variations of the same language. But ever since I've been involved with topicals, and I was present for one of the very first topicals that was being seriously studied and seriously considered as a product. And I remember the initial studies that I was present for, and I hate using the word study, so scratch that. The initial experiments, because that's what it was. These are experiments with when a clinic is asking a patient to try a product. It's an experiment. It's not a study. They may have 20 patients taking the medication. They may have 50 patients taking the medication, but there's no control. There's no real study going on. It's just, here, try this. Let us know how it works out. Come back so we can take pictures. That's all it is. So I want to get that clear. But the first 100 patients that came through and had one of these products did not have any side effects. Very encouraging. But when you have the macro level that you're dealing with hundreds and thousands of people taking topical medications, and remember, this is supposed to be format wide. In other words, all topicals are created to make the patient feel more comfortable about using it because it's supposed to be less systemic. There's nothing out there that shows us that one is less systemic than another. They all go systemic. They all go systemic. And frankly, it's not so much the formulation as it is your own physiology. That's just my opinion. Mm-hmm. Because every variation that's out there that I'm aware of, and I know there's more out there that I don't know about because there's so many of them, all of them have patients that say, no side effects, nothing, but all of them also have patients that say, yeah, I got some side effects. They weren't maybe not as bad as if I was taking oral. I don't know. Some patients have said, yeah, it is less than when I was taking oral. I've heard other patients say it was worse than when I was taking oral. How does that happen? There's so many variables to this.
And
so
by the way,
the bottom line is this.
Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
The bottom line to this is, I think that first off, I don't think starting with dutasteride is the best option. That's just my personal opinion.
I'm
because
a
I
believer
think
of that
that
as well. I agree.
I think that when you're starting off with the prescription game for arresting hair loss and maybe even, I don't know what your goals are, maybe even to thicken things up a bit, go to what we know works, and that is finasteride. Dutasteride, it does work, but I've been around that one a long time. In fact, the clinic I used to work with was the very first clinic to wide scale prescribe it for their patients, almost like a de facto standard switch from finasteride to dutasteride, because of the actual studies showing that it reduced more DHT and two kinds of DHT, not just 5-alpha reductase type 2, but also type 1.
This poor guy just wants a yes or no. That's all he wants.
But if we look at it as far as the number of people that are successful on it, I personally think it might even have more side effects than finasteride does. I don't have anything to present to you other than anecdotal evidence that I've observed. Just some patients having real problems with it. It's in your system longer. I could be wrong on that, but just my own observations. I think that potentially more people have problems with dutasteride than finasteride.
Well, I have people fighting me online about that and asking me why I haven't switched to dutasteride, and it's exactly what Joe just explained. I've been on finasteride for 30-some-odd years. No adverse side effects that I'm aware of. And when you're talking about muscle mass, I'm not saying I'm like super jacked or anything. I don't even lift weights. I do all body weight exercises. But, I'm 60 years old. I have a lot of muscle mass, for a guy my age who doesn't train like a bodybuilder.
He's got a lot of Jack LaLanne VHS tapes.
Yeah. I'm like an old calisthenic pull-up, push-up, like I work out in the park type of guy.
The uniwheel.
Yeah. Medicine ball shit. No, but really, I people ask me that all the time. And, I'm not one to show my nipples on social media like some of these older guys. But sometimes I think like
you have nipples?
Maybe that's something that needs to be done for these kids who are so worried about losing muscle mass from finasteride. I'm not even a guy really trains with weight. So you read a lot about this in the bodybuilding forums. It sounds like you are a bodybuilder, especially if you're following Derek, right?
Oh, more of functional fitness. I love to run more than lift, but I do like to lift weight, or I like to lift weights a little bit in calisthenics, pull-ups.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how old are you?
44.
Okay. I can tell you with confidence that I have personally spoken with, I don't know how many thousands of men who are taking finasteride and guys who are on it for long term. There was only one guy that ever called this program. This is when we were on the radio, when we were just getting call after call after call nationally, who believed that he had difficulty gaining muscle mass once he started to, or maintain his muscle mass once he started to use finasteride. But I have heard that much more often with guys on dutasteride, believe it or not.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I don't know what, this is all anecdotal, but just about everything you read online is anecdotal. Even people who are somehow trying to figure out what the studies are actually saying is anecdotal. They don't even know how these studies are conducted, like Joe just brought up. And it's so easy to get published in this space, in the hair loss space. It would blow your mind. So, I think you really just have to, kind of continue to do your due diligence. I'm not a fan of starting on dutasteride first, but I would say if you're going to start on dutasteride, it does appear that topical obviously does have, it doesn't go as systemic as if you're taking oral medication, but it still will to some degree. So if you do have side effects, you're talking about a 5-week half-life as opposed to a 6-day half-life on average for finasteride. So it could take 10 weeks to get out of your body if you are suffering with any adverse side effects. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It's very helpful. I'm glad I called you guys. Do you have a recommendation on where I should go to get quality topical finasteride?
That's a tough call, honestly. I mean, there are a couple of companies who have applied for trusted brand status through the American Hair Loss Association, the organization that I founded. We have not been able to bring them on board. There is, and trust me, I would love to be able to license our IP to them. You get a licensing fee for that. It helps the organization. It helps us get our message out there. And these are big companies. We haven't been able to accept them. There's one company that we basically gave an option to because everything on paper looks great so far. They have not launched yet. And when they do launch, it doesn't necessarily mean that what they put on paper is going to be what ends up being in their product and how they're going to be treating their customer base. Excuse me. So I can't make any recommendations right now. I can tell you that it's very difficult to find a good online source, like a telehealth source. Where
are you calling from? Brad, where you live?
Dallas, Texas.
Oh,
that's right. Okay, I know. I've got a recommendation for you then.
Yeah, I would go. Yeah, I would go to contact Yaker.
Yeah, Dr. Yaker in Plano.
Yeah,
he has a topical.
He's making a topical formulation. Product, yeah,
I've seen, like, I work. We both, Spencer and I both work with him. He's American International Alliance Hair Restoration Surgery member, IHRS, and on my website, Hair Transplant Mentor. And in some of the work that I've done with him, I asked him specifically for content regarding before and afters of his topical formulations.
Yeah, it's impressive.
And he sent them to me, and they look good. They're legit. His product is legitimate. So the good thing for you is he's right down the street, relatively speaking.
Yeah, I was thinking of, I didn't know where you were calling from. I was thinking my initial reply would have been find a local doctor who's working with a local compounder so you know what's going on. But if you're close to Joe Yaker, then you found your person. And he's a really good, honest physician, in my view. He's great at what he does, and he's making a really good product that's helping a lot of people. And he's working very closely with his patients, so I think that's important.
Yeah. And he can also set up to where he can document your progress, so you can go in at regular intervals to for checkups and photo documentation to follow your progress.
And you could also check your blood levels.
A lot of patients don't do.
Yeah, you could also check your blood levels if you're concerned about systemic absorption or how it's affecting you.
Great. Do you have an opinion on Zion relative to Dr. Yaker?
My opinion is that you have access to Dr. Yaker and you have access to being really followed by a physician as opposed to a telehealth company.
Okay.
And I know the guys over at Zion. Good guys, I know Simon, not very well, but, and...
I've been in their corporate headquarters here in Vancouver.
Yeah. To me, if you're able to work directly with a physician, especially who's close, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, obviously Joe and I have no skin in this game. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's even more reassuring.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't mean that I won't have skin in the game eventually, but so far I haven't been able to accept any skin in the game. So... that's the one thing that I've been trying to do, trying to figure out this whole telehealth thing. I've had companies who have actually wanted to work with us directly, the American Hair Loss Association directly, to create our own product and go up against Hims and go up against Keeps. And that sounds very enticing. If I was a young man, I probably would have done it. But because money is not my main concern at this point in my life, I just want to make sure that whatever we provide, any information we provide people is as accurate as possible without having any, equity in the game, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right, brother?
Well, I really appreciate your time.
Oh, you got it. Take care. Good luck.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
888-659-3727. How's my mic sound, Joe? I'm just curious.
Sounds fantastic. How does mine sound?
Yours always sounds good, but sometimes I notice there's an update on my computer, and then all of a sudden I can only hear myself in one headset, or the sound quality is slightly different, or there's more mouth noise based on some tweaks. Just shit that changes in my system for no reason.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Well, you sound fine.
Good. Yeah. I appreciate that. I asked Brad, said the hair looks good. You're saying I sound fine. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm 60. But, it's
Kurto Gluturk in the chat room says that you sound good as well. So there you go.
That's very nice. Thank you, man. I want to be able to just, it's not even selling out. To me, it's not selling out to get involved with a company who's providing a product that's very consistent, because they're using these products. It's important that they're able to find something that's really good. We just have not been able to publicly put out our seal on any of these products yet. So whether it's Hims or Keeps or Row or any of the big companies, that would make my life a lot easier just to say, let's do it. Let's make this happen. Yeah. Let's take this podcast, super international, kind of work out a deal like an AG1 deal with them. They would support what we do. They would love it.
There you go.
But then I have to live with the fact that there will be hundreds of thousands, not millions of people using these drugs. And then one week they're using one product. The next order they're using another product. And they have no idea what they're putting on their heads or in their bodies.
That's right. And you'd be responsible.
And it really sucks being me, to be honest with you.
And by the way, people, don't forget to hit the like button for today's broadcast. It is coming to you live at no charge. We are not charging for this. This is a free broadcast, free information. So do us a favor, hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Could use the support.
And I think that's the reason why we are not getting the viewership on this channel that we should compared to other channels, because everyone's selling something. And for some reason in people's minds, if you can offer them something that they think will help them besides just free information and the truth, they go over there.
And it's not just information, it's legit information. Like not designed to sway you to, buy anything, to go anywhere, just so you know what you're getting yourself into. and you make the right decisions for yourself based on truth, based on facts. And yeah, we're not selling anything, so it's not sexy.
But I'm learning more and more about truth, about how truth is perceived online. I happened to be going through some of our old shows. I can't believe that you and I have been actually doing the Bald Truth for like a decade together.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at our shows. I'm like, Jesus, I have not aged. No, I'm looking at the shows, and I'm listening to the same spiel over and over again. And I listened to a few calls. I spent about 2 hours yesterday just in front of the television, stoned, watching this. And I got to say, at the risk of sounding obnoxious, what we provide these kids is something that there's no one out there that provides them with the truth. No one.
Yeah.
There's partial truths. There's truths connected to selling something. There's, okay, this is the truth, but it's not the truth for the doctors that I represent type of situation, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we see online, you know? And there's this kid, Tom, I think he's doing a really great job, and he actually will contact me and ask me questions before he gets involved with anybody. He turns down a lot of money, this kid. I'm shocked. And I tell him, listen, just because you're connected to the American Hair Loss Association now doesn't mean that if you have an opportunity that you want to take, you shouldn't feel pressured not to take an opportunity. You have to go with your gut. I mean, if you go with somebody that we can't feel good about, then we just part ways. We can't give you a trusted, content creator seal. He keeps doing the right thing over and over again. I have not found that yet at any young guy in this industry. I think about this poor guy, Harris. And Harris, if you're listening, I got to tell you, brother, I wish whoever you consulted with, and I know the guy that you did consult with, would have told you to first shave your head or cut it very short, because you are a handsome kid, I got to say. As an old person, I could say that to a kid without saying no homo.
Yeah. You're a sharp young man.
I mean, this guy's got a face on him he's like a model. These crazy dark eyebrows, perfectly structured.
Your eyebrows are off the hook, man.
Yeah, perfectly structured. And guys like us who have, not necessarily the most robust eyebrows, look at that and be like, wow. Because I know if my eyebrows were bushier, I would be able to shave my head without looking like, I was going to say something else that ended with man and started with a C and an H. But yeah, but if you're listening, Harris, I just want to say that I think you're in a much better position now, and you may be in a position where you can keep your hair very short. You're not going to see that much scarring, hopefully. And no matter how the hair grows out, and I think the new hairline is going to grow well, you're going to be able to have a really good look because you have a great-looking face and it looks good with a buzz cut. If you would have consulted with me and showed me your images through this program, I would have said the first thing you need to do is shave your head because you may be surprised at how good you look. And if you didn't want to have a complete shaved head, if your hairline was not there at all, I would have said maybe a very small procedure, but he was a little young. As you get older, to shore up your hairline so you can shave it close and you have that line without really diminishing your donor and being able to save that for the future. And this person who consulted with him is just an online guy. He's on TikTok and on Instagram, I think. Mm-hmm. Doesn't seem like a terrible guy by any means, but I just don't think he has the knowledge base to really guide people in a safe direction.
And that's the problem with most of these online, we'll call them online paid consultants, independent paid consultants.
The worst, man.
I'm working on a video series where when I was in London several months back, I sat down with Dr. Mittal, Dr. Manny Mittal.
Manny.
And I did a Q&A session, and it's 10 questions. I'm going to release each question individually, then one large, longer video at the end. And that's one of the things that he actually brought up was the rise of the online paid consultant that has never worked in a clinic. They get one surgery, they might have 2 surgeries under their belt, and then they start charging for consultations from people that have had 1 or 2 less surgeries than they have. And he thinks it's a real problem. He sees it as a big problem, and he said that he's been dealing with having to re-educate people that get the wrong information from these types of consultants. So it was interesting he brought it up, and it's a nice discussion. So those are coming out.
It's very important.
Maybe this weekend. Maybe the first one this weekend. Yeah,
I hate to say how
it's a good
pathetic
series.
my life
It will be a good
is.
series.
How pathetic my life is, but I'm excited to see that. But here is the thing, and I think the conference is going on now. Right now at FUE Europe, they're embracing an online consultant and giving him a platform to present information to physicians, as if it's some sort of an education.
But he brings leads.
But
he brings leads.
But here's the thing. I don't blame this guy at all. This guy got himself in. I admire him, to be honest with you, for being able to sneak under the radar, get himself in there, and whatever idiots he dealt with who allowed him into this conference. I have to say, I think it's kind of funny. And I can't blame this guy at all. He's out there. He's had a couple of transplants, at least one really bad one that I'm aware of. He decided to make a living from this. He's making it happen for himself. You can't blame him. And does he know he's doing anything wrong, or that he may have done things wrong in the past? I don't know. But I do think that it speaks volumes about how effed up this industry is and what a joke
I will tell
these
you,
organizations are.
I actually reached out to this guy, and I offered to work with him to make sure that his information is accurate.
He told you go fuck yourself.
Nothing in it for me. He ghosted me.
Really?
I don't think
you ever told me that.
I found out that he was actually talking to a doctor I know very well, and arranging to come in to this clinic, spend some time there, do some video work. He wanted to basically start doing what I was doing, where I'm on site, with recording equipment, video, or recording the clinics, and I had no problem with him being there. Like it's just more information for the doctor I work with that's getting out there. But that's when I got concerned. It's like, okay, so is he going to present you in the right way? That's what I was concerned about, because that's one of the things I do with these clinics is, are you putting yourself in a position where whatever you're doing looks cheesy or just, not classy or, just foul. And I was worried about that with this particular situation. And the doctor actually went to this guy and said, hey, I'd like it if you talk to Joe, because he's offering to help you, to give you some guidance, or, to review what you're doing and maybe give you some ideas about how, things can be the best they can be. Not interested. He wanted to do everything his way. And he wound up getting a repair surgery with this doctor. And he's going to be documenting the recovery and the outcome. And because the doctor didn't sign on to him to be like a regular client, like a monthly client, he didn't do any. He did nothing. He mentioned the clinic's name one time, in one video, in passing, and never mentioned him ever again. And his hairline looks better because of this guy, because of this doctor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's this is important.
So my point is, I don't think he's a good guy.
Yeah, I get your point, and I'm not saying that he is a good guy.
Yeah.
I don't know him from Adam. I've seen some of his stuff. I know someone who went to see him once. did an interview with him once. You know, I feel badly for young people who are trying to navigate through this effed up industry. That's who I feel badly for. They connect with guys like him. Maybe these guys like him are more relatable. They're younger people. I don't know what it is. But in general, unless someone actually works within this industry for a long period of time, I'm talking about you have to be in the game for 15 years before you allow yourself to take any advice, or the person you're consulting with. You cannot take advice from anybody who's been in this game for 5, 6, even 10 years now. They don't know the real game. You really have to consider how this information is being derived, why they are making certain recommendations to you, what kind of commissions they're being paid. That's the one thing I wanted to do, and it's funny because there's always, look, when you speak truth or truth to power, or if you find a way to do very well in life in whatever field you're in, there's always people who are trying to tear you down. And I learned that early on in my career. And it's unfortunate, but, you know, in the end, look where we are. You know, am I doing some huge, crazy podcast like Joe Rogan? No, it's not what I wanted to do. That may change now that I have a different mindset as I'm getting older. But I figured out a way to earn the way that I earned and still be able to tell people the truth. Mm-hmm. It's basically impossible in this field. Joe figured it out, too, later. I mean, he worked for a clinic, but when he decided to go on his own, he figured it out. I guess my biggest concern when I hear these stories is I know so many people have been harmed by guys like this. I'm not saying this guy's harmed anybody. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. But the fact that a organization that claims to be legitimate is willing to have somebody who's not even in the field or understands the field, truly understands the field, represent himself in this environment and then being able to leverage that as credentials now, it's, in my view, it's potentially putting people in harm's way. Now, is it possible that this guy's going to open his mind and learn from being there? And no, he's going to learn, in my view, he's going to learn how to market himself even better.
Yeah.
That's what they're giving him. You know, when I got a Lifetime Achievement Award from FUE Europe, I looked at it as a joke because I knew who was giving it to me.
Yeah.
And I knew where it was coming from. I knew the reason why it was being presented to me, because at this particular moment in time, this doctor felt he needed to kiss my ass. That's
and
it.
you knew who was pissed off about it, too.
Yeah, and he knew who was pissed off about it, too, exactly. Another organization that he hated at the time. So I put it online, and I actually keep it around. I look at it, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Do I deserve a Lifetime Achievement Award? Absolutely. But not from this organization. Because this organization, to me, is just, it's ludicrous the way it's developed. Now, I think a couple of good doctors who were involved in it, Chris Basanga, some other guys, you know, I mean, I think they had good intentions. But the way that it's run, honestly, there's only one person that I think has any, I don't know, there's one ethical person that really is part of it. She's not a doctor. And she does her best to run things as smoothly as possible. But she has a lot of different barriers that she has to work and parameters she has to work within that I don't know if she's 100% happy with. But I have to say, it's a fucking joke. And this isn't out of any type of bitterness or anything. I mean, they gave me a Lifetime Achievement Award.
What more do you want?
Yeah.
You can hang it up now.
Yeah, it's a nice thing. It's a nice statue, little statue of a hair follicle. It's blue. It's really nice. But yeah, man, I mean, honestly, we just keep doing what we do, and the 1,000 people or 2,000 people that download the show on a weekly basis or whatever it is, they're being helped. That's really all that matters.
Yep.
I do see I'm making a real impact on social media now with my Instagram growth, and I'm growing on TikTok. Not doing a lot on TikTok, but I'm growing pretty quickly on TikTok. So I do see younger people starting to listen more. I'm going to keep focusing on that.
As you should.
And that's the best we can do. Guys, we'll take a phone call if you want to call in. Otherwise, we're going to get out of here soon. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. That's 888-659-3727. We're live, here to take your calls, answer your questions, talk about how screwed up this industry is, talk about the reality of potentially getting a hair transplant prematurely or finding the wrong source, maybe going to Turkey. There's a handful of really good places in Turkey you can go to. And they're not as cheap, trust me, as the ones that are being really rocked and promoted, pimped out on social media.
You know what's interesting about the Turkish market, and
guys, hold on.
Actually, before I get to that,
go ahead.
Before we get to that, I want to touch on today's subject, which is PP405, and the funding cut reference that I made on the thumbnail. There's mixed information online about the current administration cutting funds to UCLA and other California universities, and there was an article in Popular Mechanics saying that PP405 funding specifically has not only been cut, but I believe they're saying it's shut down. Like, it's not moving forward at all. That is not true. They've received millions of dollars in funding for these studies from what's it called, Pelage Pharmaceuticals? I think it's the name of it.
That is.
Where the funding's ongoing, or the progress is ongoing,
and they're being funded by Google Ventures.
Exactly. So while there might be some staffing issues peripheral to the team that's working on PP405, there's nothing specific that says that the program's being shut down or the studies are being canceled, the future studies, or anything that's going on now. I don't know why this got thrown out there as a story, but from what I see, there's no problem right now.
Well, you know why. I don't like to talk about politics, but that's why. It's everything in this world is political now, sadly.
It's strange. Well, okay, maybe, but it's like, why go after this unique avenue to discuss and to be political? Maybe. I mean, who knows? But the point being is that from what I've seen, there's plenty of funding to go around for this particular program, but it still is something that's not going to be around the corner and gain FDA approval anytime soon. Like, it's still going to be several years, many years before it's available.
When I saw the thumbnail, it freaked me out. I'm like, I just did a video on this. I spent like time. I'm editing the thing. I'm about to post it on social media, and now this.
Like, damn it! But no, it's all it is addressing the issue of the information that's out there. PP405 funding cut doesn't say it actually happened. Doesn't insinuate it. It's just what it is.
Listen, it insinuates it a little bit.
It got your interest
a little bit. No, I mean, it freaked me out a little bit. Not that
but it's not clickbait. It's not clickbait. It's just to get people interested in the real information, which is clarification.
Not that I think that anybody who's currently dealing with hair loss is really going to benefit from it in the next 5 to maybe 10 years. But it's my point of view that this is definitely something to watch just based by the cast of characters who are involved in it.
Yeah.
Just based on this guy, Young, essentially making billions of dollars for UCLA in royalties off of 2 prostate cancer drugs that really changed the way people are being treated for prostate cancer now. That's why all eyes are on this and all eyes are on him, because he's already had this tremendous success. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Good morning, Spencer and Joe. It's Graeme from Australia.
Graeme, holy cow.
How are you?
How are you,
I
brother?
thought I'd have to call in.
The oral minoxidil wonder.
Well, exactly. And the Lifetime Achievement Award I think Spencer should get is telling people to think about what they're doing and stop and think about what they're doing. That's the most important message you've ever put across, Spence, for everyone. Myself, Adrian, of course, from Melbourne, a lot of people that get online on this show. That's the most important message you get across. You don't say don't go and get a hair transplant, but you say make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. That's the achievement award you should get.
Well, I appreciate that. Maybe you guys can get together and make a nice People's Choice Award for me and Joe, and we'll hang it on our walls or something. What do you think, Joe?
Well, the People's Choice Award would be a good award. It's like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in music. It means absolutely jack shit because it's not from the fans.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's
Dude, every
Yeah, it's a
award,
good reference. I like that.
anytime you see a hair transplant surgeon who has an award or a statue from this industry, you have to realize that it's basically 100% political. Before when I just got into the field, my book was just published. I just started the IHRS. I was contacted by, at the time, it was the Italian Society of Hair Restoration, the Italian Hair Society. And they invited me to Italy, to Rome, to accept the Michelangelo Award for some nonsense. And, for being, they claimed that I was recommended by a group of my peers. And this was voted, and this was voted on, and I was going to receive this award. And I had to let them know that I'm not a doctor. Now, I wish I never did that, because you see these guys promoting their Michelangelo Award everywhere for years.
Right.
And basically, what they wanted to do is just get you to the conference.
Yeah.
They wanted to just basically, so you went to this conference, and there's all these little Michelangelo bust statues, and it had your name on it. You picked it up when you left. That was it.
I tell you though,
oh God,
it'd be worth going just for the party, because they know how to throw an event in Italy. It'd be fun.
Too bad I can't drink anymore. I'm just too old, Joe.
Yeah, but what I'm
just
calling
take me.
about as well, as you guys know more than anyone, not much has changed. I'm still using the oral minoxidil, still fantastic results. Everything's the same. The crown, it's pretty much exactly how it was. It's not any better, not any worse. But as you can see, the front of my hairline's fantastic and everything like that. Looks brilliant from the front. You wouldn't know.
Yeah.
anything
different.
Dude, you have absolutely amazing results. You are an example of a late, not taking medication for early intervention, dealing with significant full-blown hair loss, like full-blown Norwood for many years of your life, starting these medications in your 50s, I think, right? Am I correct about that?
Yes, correct. I started it when I was 29, but I did go off it for personal reasons, which I think I've mentioned to Joe, I mentioned to you earlier in the other shows. But I think a lot of my problems, I thought I was getting some side effects from the finasteride, where it was underlying depression, which tends to run in my family a bit.
Yeah.
And it was untreated. And I'm one of those guys who, I'm 52, but this thing about depression and things like that has really only kicked in the last probably 15 years.
Yeah.
People are really starting to take notice that shit, this is a real condition.
Oh, sure.
So I think
Yeah.
once I was treated for that problem and decided, hey, let's have another go at finasteride and see if there's any side effects, I found that I didn't have any side effects. So that was my experience. Maybe I was in a mentally better
Well, you were.
place in my life. I don't know.
Well, you were in a mentally better
absolutely.
place. You weren't quite as anxious. You weren't as depressed. You know, you may not have been thinking about the adverse effects, and you're doing well. But the point, and I'm glad about that, but the point is you actually had a tremendous regrowth response that's possible. And
huge.
for years, we weren't 100% sure how possible that was. Now, I had seen guys who were taking low-dose oral minoxidil, or actually regular-dose oral minoxidil, like 10 milligrams, back in the day, who had very similar responses. But physicians were concerned about prescribing that medication at that dosage for obvious reasons. But we've known this for decades. It only seems to be relatively new because it was initially presented at the 2000 Global Hair Loss Summit. I think in 2020 Global Hair Loss Summit by Sergio
5
Vagno.
years ago.
And then everybody jumped on it. And then dermatologists, because this was an event that was open to everyone, not just a small group of hair transplant surgeons, but the American Academy of Dermatology, Cosmetic Surgery, the American Academy, the Aesthetic Society, the California Plastic Surgery Society. Basically, a lot of people who were just interested in getting involved in hair got their hands on this information. They started to treat their patients in their practices, and then the New York Times picked it up, and then it just took off like wildfire. And you were one of those guys who got this information, and he said, listen, I'm going to give this a shot.
I really got into it when I was watching Joe's show. I was listening in. I think he was talking to the guy from Melbourne, Sinclair, one of Sinclair's doctors, and he's done a big
Bevan Boy Rule.
Our show on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when I was listening to that, and I thought, and the results I were having, and that's what really sparked my interest, because I thought, this is coming from a good place. It's coming from a doctor. It's not coming from someone, and coming from yourself, Joe. And I know how proud you guys are at trying to keep everything real and not just guessing what's in the bottle and things like that. And I thought, why not give it a try? Let's just see what happens. I can always stop it if I want to. And I tried it. First, I tried it on 2.5, and I didn't notice much response. But then I went to the 5, and that was the big change for me. Yet I know a lot of the time they do prescribe it on 2.5, but I would never go over 5 milligrams with it. I'm happy with what's going on. And one day I might stop it. You know, that's the type of person I am. But I know what will happen if I do stop it.
Yeah. And, you know, as long as you're doing well and you feel healthy and you're getting good blood panels and everything is working just fine, you know, enjoy your hair for as long as you want to enjoy it.
That's the way I put it. That's the way I think too. You know, I get a echo done every 3 years. Everything comes back fine.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's you know, I do everything. I do all my tests for bowel cancer and all those sorts of things, and do everything that I should be doing at my age. And I feel great. I still feel the guy that's 20, but I'm like you, Spence. I'm in a 52-year-old body, you know.
Yeah.
But,
well, I have a.
But I know that
I don't know if I have a 52-year-old body. I don't know if it's 60, 52, or 35 at this point. Depends on how I feel in the morning. Sometimes I wake up and I just like, wow, I have no pain. And then I take a step and there it is.
Yeah. Exactly. And I ended up, I think you probably know, I went under for my 5th septoblaster on my nose.
Oh, yeah.
And that's been successful because, like, after all this time, they end up using rib cartilage, put the strength into my nose and everything, and now I can probably breathe for the first time it through my nose properly in about 40 years.
Oh my God, that's great. That's great.
Wow, that's killer. Yeah,
that's a huge change, and like for anyone who thinks that's no big deal, it's a huge deal because just energy and sleep's just everything, and I'm more over the moon about that than anything lately. Yeah,
wow,
so.
I'm really glad things went well, and yeah, it's a very important aspect of your life. People don't realize that mouth breathing is not a great thing, especially. I mean, during the day it's not great, but especially when you're sleeping, you really want to get the nitric oxide through nose breathing, and you want to keep your mouth as closed as possible when you're sleeping. And I'm assuming that you were using like a CPAP machine, right?
Yeah, I've got a CPAP machine as well, and the worst thing about them, you've got a humidifier on them, but what will wake you up is you have a dry mouth. So there's the problem through sleeping through your mouth. Like you always had, before the CPAP, I was there with a glass of water beside the bed, sort of all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But
and now, are you able to sleep? Are you able to sleep without the CPAP now?
At the moment, I'm not wearing the CPAP because my nose is, even though I look fine, it's still in the repair stage. So he said keep it off for a month.
Right.
So I'll put it back on probably in a couple of weeks and see if I'm better, and then I'll go back and do another sleep study, a proper sleep study, and see what's going on. If I need the CPAP or I don't need the CPAP. So.
Yeah, I mean, being single now, CPAP is just not the thing for me to do. But yeah, I mean.
Yeah, they're very difficult to get used to, but
well, listen, I'm so glad to hear you and hear that you're doing well, and I think you're a great example for younger guys who think that, as they say in the young world now online, that they're cooked as far as their hair is concerned. That's not necessarily true. These medications used correctly, and I always suggest them to be used separately, not as a mixed, compounded one. All-in-one pill can really work wonders, especially if you're well monitored. So I'm happy for you, brother.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think it's one thing at a time, but I think the most, and I know I was the young guy, and it's easy to look now with a clear head, but as you know, with everything's hair loss, you got to give it 6 months. You got to give it 6 months in between treatments. It's not something that happens overnight. Within 2 weeks, I think I'm shedding and all this sort of thing. It changes for everyone, and you just got to be patient. I think that comes with maturity. You learn to be patient. You learn to not do those stupid things and stupid mistakes. But what these young kids have got to learn they're going to run out to these hair mills and listen to these so-called influencers that don't want to do harm, but yeah, there might be a flood of them in 10 years' time that have been damaged through clinics.
It's not 10 years.
Oh, yeah. Could have done a better job.
It's happening.
A lot better job than.
It's happening right now. It's happening. We are seeing them come in from just 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
No.
I mean, the damage is just,
and I think
it is so massive, the carnage that's happening. I can't really articulate it. I never thought I would see anything like that. And this has been a shitty industry forever, and that's why I do what I do. I never could have imagined it being like this. And social media just made it
widespread destruction.
Social media just made it so it's almost like Amazon. You just click on something. Oh, I'm going to get a hair transplant. And when you tell these kids, that the hair transplant may not last for these reasons, and they don't really understand the reality of what it means if your hair transplant fails, even if it slowly gets worse. They're just like, I'll just shave my head. No. You won't just shave your head. You're scarred all over your scalp for life. The more grafts that you have moved, the more scars you'll have on your head. And if you have these massive sessions, if things don't work out for you, you're going to end up with just a scalp of scar tissue. Mm-hmm. That's what it is.
I see people around in my local shopping centre, the rectangle on the back of their head and the front of their head. You can see they've buzzed it right down, and there's a whole lot of growth there, but there's not a lot of growth on the top of their head.
Yeah.
And I know the reasons why that's happened. And, you know, and I'm pretty sure a lot of these dodgy places would say, no, you don't have to worry about finasteride once we fix you up today, you know. I'm sure it goes on behind closed doors. You'll be right.
It goes on not just behind closed doors. It goes on right online. There's this Hispanic woman down in Miami that does these TikTok lives, and she's running some clinic, some hair transplant mill, in my view, in Miami, I think. And she's just telling people to come on in and showing these crazy, like, old school before and after pictures. It looks like it's an old brochure she's showing people and telling people how easy it is to get this done. And I'm watching her chat. There's 100 people in there asking her questions. You know, it's insane what's going on. I can't even believe what's going on. It's like harkens back to like the old ads in the back of the sports pages when I was a kid in New York. It's the same type of marketing, except it's now on video.
No one knows what you're talking about. Yeah. That's what's sad.
Yeah.
Graeme gets it, and that's about it. And I do.
I get it.
Yeah. Graeme got his wig from one of those ads, I'm sure. Not that he decided to continue to wear it, but he got ripped off by a company.
Studios.
What was that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Advanced Hair Studios.
Yeah.
Yep, that's correct.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When I look, I think that was back in about 93 or 92. And I think even back then that was like over $2,000. And I'm thinking, I'm only an apprentice at working on a golf course. It's still a lot of money today to lose that amount of money. And I was shattered. I was gutted. Like, I wanted to throw a brick through their window, you know, for basically false advertising sort of thing.
Dude, I almost had one of those. I almost had one of those actually sewn into my head, and I had a completely full head of hair. Like,
yeah, I've heard your story, and it's very similar. But you were the smart one. You walked out. You know, I thought this is the answer.
Yeah, but at least you didn't have it sewn in. You just had it glued on.
Yeah. No, they put it on. They didn't even glue it because I still had a lot of hair. They put it on with like fishing sinkers and pressed them like little beads.
Oh, really?
And they were very painful. Yeah, they were very painful because they were pulling on the side of my natural hair. So that was just, it felt like there was a lot of tension there all the time. And it didn't go away like after a couple of days. It was there. That's why within 2 weeks I had the thing removed and said, this is fucked. This is not for me. You know, I was more paranoid about that than anything. So,
well, look, sadly, the industry has not really changed that much. It's just been scaled. It's the same type of used car salesman in every aspect of the field. And sadly, in the surgical aspect, this is surgery. People are selling surgery. I mean, all these guys, man, and Joe knows, I mean, it's sick. It's so ugly. It's just so sickening. And look, I can't talk people out of it. Some people I can, but most of these guys think I'm like, well, what do you know? You know, things are new.
I know what you're saying. You say you can't talk people out of it. But I think with me, like I look at my crown and say, you know, probably if I get 3,000, you know, I might get 10 years of, you know, pretty good looking hair that would take me to 60. That goes through my mind. But what the importance I got from you, Spencer and Joe, is that stop and think what you're doing. Stop and think what's going to work long term. What's going to work long term? Not work for 2 years, work for 10, 15 years. That's the most important thing that I get.
And honestly, at your age, given your response to medication, a hair transplant may last for the rest of your life. It's possible. You know? Yeah,
and I talk, as you know, I talk to Adrian, and sometimes I take a photo of my donor, and he says it's brilliant, you know. But Adrian's still a person. He will never, ever push me to do anything. He goes, anything like that. Because he's been through it, he knows the pain and shit when something goes wrong. He's very good, and he's just awesome, you know, because he's been there in the bad days. And as you guys say, It's just as bad now. It's just more open.
I was going to say that could be yesterday.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean 20 years ago.
I mean, it's interesting when you go.
But your point's taken.
When you go to these forums, and I know that he's on the forums, and you see all the conversations that happen on these places. And I don't spend any time on there anymore, but I'm sure it's all the same. And then the moderators of these forums are really talking mostly about the positives of hair transplant surgery. And the only negative talk is about, if people have immediate bad results. No one on these places talk about the long-term results. It just doesn't exist. And I can never understand that.
No, they don't. I
used to get shit from the doctors that are part of my organization for telling the truth. Not all of them, but a few of them, especially at the beginning of my work. I was like, don't you want these people to at least know what they're getting into? At least if they know what they're getting into, that it's possible it's not going to last forever. That's possible that...
Well, you know what?
Yeah, go ahead.
Look what happened to poor Charlie. He was telling a lot of the truth over the weekend. And people don't like the truth.
Well, we got to kind of steer away from that. But yeah, I mean, the reality is, at least in my world as well, in the business of hair and, in general, people do not like the truth. When I got on the scene, everyone tried to cancel me. The entire industry came after me. Even people you would think who claim to be, doing things for consumers, by consumers, tried to destroy my career. Now, it couldn't happen, and I knew that even at the time. Doesn't mean it was any less aggravating. But they don't want to hear the truth because the truth makes people pause, makes them question what they're doing, makes them realize that maybe this isn't as easy as I thought it was. Maybe this is something I really have to step back and consider what my other options are, or do I take baby steps along this path instead of just signing on the dotted line? And people who have sponsored websites and shit like that, they don't like that. Because if their physicians are not getting leads, if their physicians are not getting what they think they should be getting, then they're not going to be making the money that they want to make from these resources. I never felt that way. Someone talked to me about not getting leads. I'm like, that's not what we do. But trust me, I look at my database. I'm like, I could see 20 patients who contacted us who ended up going to these doctors, in a few months. And they may not be saying, oh, we found you in the IHRS or through the IHRS. I don't even tell these doctors that. I know what's going on. But if someone asks me about leads, they're done. I just have separated with these guys. And now people know not to ask me about leads.
Or they're out.
Yeah.
They're done.
They're done.
They're out
anyway,
of here.
Guys, I'll let you go. I'll let you take another caller or whatever you're going to do. And thanks for everything. As you know, every week you try and come on and help everyone. And always good to talk to you. But there's nothing new because I keep my hair loss treatment simple.
Well, listen, I'm glad you're doing well.
Yeah.
And it's great to hear your voice.
That's the way to do it, too.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Good luck, Graeme.
Yeah.
Take care. Thanks for the call.
You're a gem, Graeme. Take care.
Bye, Joe. Bye, Spence.
See ya.
Cheers, guys.
Bye. Cheers.
All right. Cheers.
We're going to head out soon. If you want to take one more 8-minute call, we can do that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we don't have any calls, so we can't. But if someone wants to try to get in right now, we'll take a call. But otherwise, I'm probably going to call it a night. I'm considering going on Instagram, maybe ordering some food and going on Instagram and doing a live. I know that Joe's probably busy. I'm not going to even ask him. He can. You're
going to do a mukbang?
A what? Well, what?
Mukbang? Where you're eating on camera? This is good. Oh, yeah.
I did not know that. It's hard to do with ribs, though. Friday night, I like to order ribs.
Mukbang. Mukbang is what it's called. Yeah, it's eating anything. Ramen, noodles, ribs, burgers.
Let me tell you something. We live in
it's almost like ASMR.
Such an effed up world now. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to turn at this point.
Like people have hundreds of thousands of followers, and all they do is just stuff their faces with food.
It's amazing. It's an amazing.
God bless them. You know.
Let's see who this is.
It's just crazy. Yeah.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hey, Spencer and Joe. This is Ethan from Nashville.
Ethan from Nashville. What's happening?
What's up, Ethan?
Nothing much. Recently, I had a strip procedure with Dr. Nusbaum on the 3rd of this month.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how did that go?
And it went fantastic. It was just overall a great experience. Everything from consultation to surgery was as explained, and minimal discomfort. So it was a good process. But the reason for my call is I've entered the phase where they want me scrubbing the grafts very lightly with the pads of the fingertips to kind of lift that that layer of spray and skin from those grafts. And my question was just kind of centered around your experience, Joe, with having transplant, how long it took to kind of lift that layer to the point where it was just back to normal scalp.
Oh, dude, I didn't wait at all. Like by the time I was in my 3rd surgery, I think, as like I had no fear, and I knew exactly what to do. And my scalp was looking clean like 4 days after surgery.
Oh, wow.
And
wow.
And part of it's because, you know, when some clinics are finishing up with the transplant, they actually pull out a bag of saline and run a line from the saline bag to a syringe plunger, and they will power wash the recipient area. I don't know if Dr. Nusbaum does it or not, but they'll power wash the recipient area so that any loose blood that's yet to congeal and scab over gets rinsed off. And so by the time you get back to your hotel or where you're going, there's very little to scab. And 5 days later, when you're normally at peak scabbing on in most cases, you got some, but and you got some that form, but it's more of almost like a dried edema from the swelling that's oozing through the incision. It's not so much blood scabs like you would normally see. And in my case, that's what's done. And yeah, I mean, it's easy to get them off too, because when you have scabbing, what you can do is, you know, you're told to wash your hair a very specific way, to be very careful. And what I would do, this is what I came up with on my own, and the clinic adopted my method, is I would get a Slurpee cup or some large, 16, 20 ounce cup. I'd fill that up when I'm in the shower, and I would pour that over my head and not use the direct shower stream from the shower head. And nothing's going to happen with that, because that's how they wash your hair at the clinic the day after surgery. And the goal wasn't to do anything other than to soak the scabs so they swell up and they turn white. And then, most people go online like, what are these white, bumps on my head? Well, you obviously just wash your hair. And what I would do is I would get my towel and I would lay it on my head, and I wouldn't rub it or anything. I would just gently pull it forward. And that would get those scabs off without having to rub. It'd just be one slow movement. And I would only do it once. Yeah. And by the time by the time the first week is gone, it's completely clean. Completely clean. The only residual is just the redness, which on me, being a pasty white guy, lasts for months. But yeah, I mean, it's easy. But don't do that without talking to the clinic. Follow their instructions, not mine.
And that's what I've been doing,
because they're your clinic.
Post-op instructions. Yeah, in the post-op instructions, they have days 8 through 11, just gentle finger pressure in a circular motion in that area with increasing pressure each day. And what I was surprised of is, immediately after surgery, like you said, the grafts looked incredibly clean. I mean, there was minimal, kind of crusted edema, crusted swelling. And that redness, even since the day of the 3rd of this month up until now, has really subsided. And it's even taken on, the skin in that area, in the recipient area, has taken on kind of the qualities of just regular skin.
That's amazing.
So,
good for you.
It's been a great experience so far. But again, I want to just keep playing it slow with these grafts, and especially with the scrubbing. But just didn't know what that timeline looked for you. 3 to 7 days, or excuse me. I was in that day, 8 to 11 days post-op.
Yeah, I was an outlier just because I had no fear and I knew what to do. I knew what was safe, what was not. The way that post-op instructions are set up by clinics that have experience, it's designed for it's designed to overcompensate, because technically, you could be much more aggressive strategically a week after surgery. It's even less than that.
It's actually, we call it post-op for dummies.
There you go. Yeah. It's assuming the worst as far as, pretty much. So, there's a big buffer built into the design of the post-op instructions to deal with everyone. But, one thing to keep in mind, the way that the grafts look due to pressure washing and all this, all that is purely cosmetic. It makes zero difference to the outcome. So when patients, it kills me. I see this where a patient will post their immediate post-op or the few days post-op after surgery on whatever platform, and you see the comments, "Ooh, looks like clean work." What the fuck does that mean? Nothing. It means nothing. And people looking at it have no idea what they're talking about. They don't know what they're saying when they say it looks clean, other than there's no scabbing.
It is a joke, but I also think there's a psychological factor involved for the patient when they come away with a really clean scalp that I don't think could be underestimated.
They're not freaked out by it.
Yeah,
they're not freaked out by by all the scabbing. And the only time that the scabbing will cause an issue is if it doesn't come off, like a month later, because there are clinics that would say don't wash your hair. Literally, don't wash your hair for a month, which is insane. And they don't do it anymore. And there are very specific clinics I'm talking about. But I mean the rinsing and all that, and having it look like no scabs, so soon after surgery, it's purely cosmetic. There's no medical benefit to it, no surgical benefit to it, no recovery benefit to it.
That's what I figured, and based on all the research that I've done, and just given his surgical skills, the grafts are pretty much locked in. I could be wrong, but by days like 5 through 7 is when they really start to anchor in and become not invincible yet, but just a little bit more. They've got their own blood supply. They're a little bit more resistant to just a little
around day 7, depending on physiology. That's when your blood supply has really been reestablished as far as like more or less direct connections. But I think the study that Bernstein did said by day 10 they're locked in. They're not going anywhere. You can hit your head with a 2x4 and they're just stuck. Yeah.
Yeah,
is that right?
I'm a day or two away from.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard 8, 10. I don't know. I don't remember Bernstein's study exactly, but I would say by day 8 you're usually in really good shape. I mean, even if you banged your head on the car, it's unlikely you're going to affect any grafts. You can.
Yeah, we're not planning for like a sledgehammer to the head or anything here, but you want to be conservative. But by day 11 post-op, they have me fully,
But you never know. You live in Florida, right?
Yeah.
No, Tennessee.
Oh, you're in Tennessee. That's right. Okay. It's not quite.
Yeah,
it's not quite
crazy. As
crazy.
Florida,
oh, maybe. Yeah. And how old are you again?
I'm 28.
All right.
28, and I had 2,300 strip grafts.
It's really interesting that, I know we spoke about this before, but you chose to have a strip at your young age, which is probably the right move given the information that you have. And I'm sure you did all the pros and cons on whether or not to have a strip or an FUE. But if you really plan on moving as much hair as possible throughout your lifetime, you made the right move.
And that's, he kind of reiterated that. He said you essentially just got a free 2,300 grafts to the frontal third.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I want you to think about that, and people who are listening to think about that. Imagine if you have a 2,300 graft transplant, which is considered conservative these days, but you had to have those grafts removed from the back and sides of your scalp via FUE. That's 2,300 potentially, maybe less if they're able to split some grafts into ones, but 2,300 little scars all over the back of your scalp for a relatively small procedure. It's insane to me when you think about it.
That's significant, especially at an early age.
Yeah.
And a big FUE early. But we mapped out a plan, just over a lifetime, start with strip. And I kind of joked with him before the surgery. I'm like, the plan over a lifetime is to get stripped out and then do FUE. But after this first strip, the first few nights, I'm like, shit, that plan might have changed. Just sleeping on the incision and the pain that came with it. But it's gotten a lot better.
And keep in mind, dude, it's like it's 3 or 4 nights out of your life that it's uncomfortable, right? And it's over with, and you're through it.
So much better. Yeah,
exactly.
It's really improved, this coming week, was out. So,
what I always found interesting was, I had my first repair surgery with Dr. Wong. That was my 3rd strip overall. And that surgery combined 2 bad wide donor scars into one. And every strip surgery I've had since then, I've had a total of 7 with Dr. Wong, or 6. I don't remember exactly. I still have 1 scar. And the healing process, like I enjoy the process of not just surgery, but I enjoy the process of recovery. It doesn't, like the needle pricks. That's the painful part for me, but it's over with like that. I don't know if you heard that. It's over with in a snap, and then everything else is just, it gradually comes back when it's done. You feel the pressure from the swelling and all that stuff, but none of it ever hurt after surgery, even when the anesthesia wore off. I never needed the painkillers. I took the painkillers because they were fun, Tylenol 3, woohoo, codeine, but I never needed them. My first 2 surgeries, I was miserable for a week after each surgery. Like, full on, like, when is this pain going to stop? Tylenol isn't helping. There's no medications helping. That's how bad it was. But with a good strip surgery, it's like it's done, and you feel it, but it's not impacting your life. You don't have headaches from it, your mileage may vary, of course, whoever's listening to this, but that's my experience with good quality strip surgery from a doctor who knows what the hell he's doing, and it sounds like that's basically what your first experience was like as well.
It's been great so far. The first night I took a Percocet, it kind of upset my stomach, but after that I haven't taken anything whatsoever, and the pain has essentially subsided entirely. Another benefit that I don't know that people talk about much is with an ear-to-ear strip procedure. It almost feels like I had a mini facelift in a way. That could be a good or a bad thing, but depending on who you ask.
Well, why do you think Joe always looks so surprised?
Yeah, caught in a wind tunnel.
Yeah,
exactly.
There's like a lifting. There's a lifting of the forehead muscles. At least it feels like right now. There's just a slight pull. And I'm sure that will go away. It's not painful.
That's actually the residual. That's sorry to interrupt. That's the residual swelling from the procedure in the front. The musculature of your scalp, the in the skin, the way it's set up, it's not actually pulling on your forehead from an incision in the back. There's too much in between it. So what it is, it's a swelling from the incisions that were made in the scalp on the top, and the subsequent swelling.
And that makes sense then. So there still might be a little bit of residual swelling in that area. There was little to no swelling in the forehead or face, at least in this first few 7-8 days. But we'll just we'll wait it out. We'll see where we're at the 2-week mark, and then I'll keep you guys posted once everything falls out, how the results look when everything grows back in.
Well, listen, brother, you sound like you had a really great experience, and you sound very upbeat. A lot of guys you call directly after surgery have this anxious vibe about them, and you don't seem to have that. So I'm really happy for you.
Well, I appreciate that. I was a little anxious, but as the days go by, and you kind of keep your mind off it and start working, the days kind of fly by, and it gets better.
Dude, before you know it, 6 months is going to pass, and you're going to be like, "Holy cow!"
I know. I'll be seeing the vision by then. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Dude, absolutely. I'm sure you will be. All right, brother. Listen, good luck. Thanks for the call.
Yep. Have a good weekend.
All right, congratulations. Take care. Bye-bye.
Be good.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
I'm probably going to order some food, and I may do a Instagram Live and see if I can take some calls there.
All right.
I would invite you. You're invited, Joe, but I have a feeling you don't want to do it. So,
Well, actually, I would like to do it, but I got stuff to do. So, working on some projects. I got some video editing to do.
That's what they say.
That's what they always say.
I thought I was going to have to redo my whole PP405 reel, and now I don't. So,
see, it's a good thing.
I have to say that while obviously it's not that difficult for me to turn on a camera and speak into a microphone because I've been doing it for so long, trying to think of topics that will get people interested in the social media instead of I would love to be able to just take segments of this broadcast or take a call, and for people to have enough of an attention span on Instagram, for instance, to really listen to other people talking about their experience or us giving them advice. They don't give a shit about that.
No.
You got to shock them with some stuff.
You do. You got to get a hook.
Yeah.
To grab their attention initially.
Has your penis shrunk from being on finasteride? Yeah. That's what you got to do.
Yeah. Are you getting a pimple on your ass because of dutasteride?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Have you lost your vision from dutasteride?
Yeah. Is your left leg numb because of minoxidil?
Yeah.
What was that guy's name just called?
Jesus, man. Don't make me think of people's names or do math. He's called so many times. I feel terrible.
Ethan,
yeah. Right. Ethan from Tennessee.
From Nashville. Talks about his grip procedure recently.
Is your skin aging rapidly from topical minoxidil? Here's what to do.
Here's why.
Yeah.
You must listen to Coburn and Tillman on The Bald Truth.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to do timestamps on the episodes from now on because I still get an annoying amount of people asking me if I could do timestamps.
Isn't there a way to do that with the help of AI at this point?
You know what? Well, you can, but YouTube has that feature built in, but for some reason it doesn't do that on my channel. I don't know why.
Loser.
Anyway, all right, let's get out of here.
Okay, guys, if you want to tune in over at my Instagram at Spencer Coburn, I'm going to order some food, take a piss, and then set this whole thing up and stream on there for a little bit.
Bacatero Lion just joined us back in the chat. First time he's been here in months. Brother, where you been? Hope you're doing well. My God. Remember him? I
think I do.
The guy from South Florida? Started using Bauman's, was it M70 or whatever the whatever
M82.
M82, yeah.
Yeah.
And it always calls from a place that's got bad reception, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
There you go. Yeah. He doesn't have any cell towers in his neighborhood.
Is that the brother?
Anyway, yeah, he's a brother. Yeah. Hairline's still looking good after Dr. Mwamba. That's right. He went to Mwamba for another for his first surgery with him, but another surgery. So good for you, buddy.
Amazing. Well, I'm going to be over.
He goes, yeah, I'm a brother.
Yeah. Well, listen, brother, I'm going to be over on Instagram in about 10 minutes. So if you want to call over there to discuss your results and how you've been doing, that would be great. It's at Spencer Coburn. You have to follow me, and then you can see that I'm live. And Joe is at Joe Tillman Official on Instagram. I'm trying to do at least once a week, maybe after the show, get online on Instagram and try to do like a mini show on there. And it works. It's kind of cool. No one really does that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got a lot of calls last week.
Yeah. It was probably his most successful show ever on Instagram, and I just happened to be a part of it.
Because Joe was a part of it.
I'm not saying that's why, but,
But if you notice,
don't lie.
If you notice, he was on the bottom rung of the totem pole, as we say.
But I was still on screen.
Yes, you were.
Anyway,
you were the guy. You were the guy who's obstructed by
tonight.
You were the guy who's obstructed by all the comments.
Yes, because that's what I do. I answer the comments, or I pay attention to the comments.
Yeah. All right, guys. Listen. Thanks so much. Like Joe's page, Hair Transplant Channel. Subscribe. Ring the bell so you know when the show is live. Like this video. Until next time, guys, be strong. God bless. Thank you so much for listening. Take care.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the programme, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you.